Look at that. It's doing it. It's actually doing it. I can't believe it. Can't believe it. Obviously I'm going to be monitoring everything, all these wires over the next few hours. Look, we got 76 amps out of that one and about 78 out of that one. So that's why you have to connect these up in parallel. So these are going to get warm. I'll check those as we go through. But this is whirring away, it's humming, it's vibrating, but it's good. I can't believe it. Genuinely can't believe it. Yeah, I can't see it. Look at that, 32 amps. Yay! So now I've calmed down, let's break the whole system down. Right, so here it is. I'm going to go through each of the individual components, how I've set it up, how it's been working so far, and then just give you a rundown of what I'm going to be doing with this. As you can appreciate, this isn't the finished article. This really is a working prototype as such, or work in progress. The ultimate plan for this is to get it up on the wall, get rid of all this rubbish here, get it mounted correctly on the wall, and then actually get this set up sort of more as I would expect it to be done, as it was in my head as such. So I'm going to go through each of these bits and pieces on here and then give you a rundown of what that looks like, and give you an idea of how it's sort of all bolted together as such. So a quick backstory on this. My eldest daughter's commutes about just over 100 miles a day. And like most people, since the conflict in the Middle East, she's been struggling, or had been struggling, with fuel costs. I mean, they were, you know, for a percentage salary, they were really taking a chunk, like most people that have been affected by that petrol and diesel, obviously. So she decided to go the EV route, and I had this sudden realisation, the fact that she found the car quicker than I thought, and I didn't have any way of charging it outside of using a standard 10 amp granny charger. I don't like that term, but you know what I'm talking about. So I thought, well, I've already got these batteries here from the original install, and if you haven't seen that video yet, I'll suggest it in the top now. This was originally installed in August 2025, and these were the batteries I used originally. And then these were the upgraded ones to 64 kilowatt hours back in December 2025. It's now May 26. So yeah, I'm going to go through each of the components now and give you that rundown. But I just want to emphasise this really is a working prototype, all right? So this isn't the finished article. Like I say, I'll get it on the wall and do it properly and make sure everything's in place, and just give you a rundown of what I think it's going to look like when it's done. Right, so here's the heart of the operation. It's a Victron Multiplus 2, as it says on the tin. This is the 10,000 VA version, and it's got the 140 amp charger built in. So this is the inverter charger effectively. It's much more than that. This is the first one I've got. I've had Phoenix inverters before, but I haven't had the actual Multiplus, which has got both the charger and inverter built in. I've got to say, it's a brilliant bit of kit. I know they're quite expensive in comparison to other things that I've used and reviewed before, but you really and truly, it's just been brilliant, because there's so many modes on it, and there's so many ways of using it. And obviously I'm using this largely in off-grid mode, and I only really connect up using this this cable at the moment, because what I can't do at the moment is I need a 32 amp supply to recharge this at a decent level, obviously from the main system. But I can't do that at the moment because I'm not fully qualified. I'm on my electrician's journey. I'm coming to the end of level 3, probably next month actually. So level 3 in electrical installation at night school at college. But I can't install the stuff from the consumer unit yet. So I'll get an electrician in to run something. It'll probably run up the wall here to where I have it in its final location, so that I can charge this at a decent rate when I've got solar, or I can charge it from batteries when they're full, or whatever. These batteries will act like a second pot, if you like. So it'll still be an off-grid setup, but yeah, that's the plan for this one anyway. So at the moment I can only really charge it, again, I don't like using this term, at the granny charging pace at the 10 amps is maximum that I can use, because again, any plugs you shouldn't really use more than 10 amps continuously, because obviously it puts stress on the plugs and not really designed to do that, as in the wall socket. It's a standard 13 amp wall socket. So yeah, I've got that cable there for charging this, which is obviously quite slow, so I do it when I've got the ability to do it. But yeah, in general terms, this has been brilliant. I like the fact that I can use the batteries and use what's called grid assist mode. It's effectively gives you the ability to actually connect it to the grid at the same time. So you drain your batteries slower, but yeah, I can only use, you know, just under 2 kilowatts on that if it's about 10 amps. So, or just over at 10 amps. I usually do it between 9 and 10 amps, depending how much I've got in the main system to use. So yeah, so this has been brilliant so far. Pretty simple setup. I'll just grab that off to you, but again, remember this is a work in progress, so let's see if we can get that off and show you what the inside looks like. So we've got the obviously the batteries connected there in parallel, which comes out like that and goes round obviously to the main battery terminals. We've got one AC input there, which again is the plug that I've just shown you, and then we've got the AC output there running on 6mm squared twin and earth. So yeah, it's again not the final run, and I'll decide what cable I'm going to use when it goes on the wall, but it really is that simple. And that's just the plug in there for communication, so that I can monitor it and change the configuration. I'll go through that one in a minute. So in general terms, that's pretty much it from the inverter. Right, so next up is the obvious choice, which is the main batteries. So I've covered the full build of one of these units, and actually there's a couple of videos already on the channel if you want to have a look. So I'll put the main build video up. It is very long. It is a step-by-step guide, so you can skip through that pretty quick if you wanted to have a look at that, but that's in the top corner now. So these are effectively 15 kilowatts, 15 kilowatt hours a piece. So there's about 30 kilowatt hours there in raw form. What I've found in terms of charging, that I think the most I've got out of these two batteries with this particular setup, again, because you're going to be facing losses on anything like this at any scale, the best I've had to the point of where these cut out, and again, I've been testing them to cut out at the point where they switch themselves off. They say, no, the batteries, or it hits one of the protection features inside, says, no, that battery or that cell's flat. So what it does is it cuts out the battery, and obviously the inverter then goes off from that point. I've got about 27 kilowatt hours into the EV, as you see on screen at the moment. So that was just before the everything switched off, so it was almost just touching. It was just over 27, you know, and a few pence as such, a few watts over 27 kilowatt hours. So from this 30 kilowatt hour setup, so that's pretty good actually with all the losses. So that's what made it through the charger, which I'll cover, the portable charger, into the EV. So yeah, I was pretty pleased with that actually, and I think that equates to, on my daughter's car, just under 120 miles, which I was quite impressed with. Again, what you get in reality in winter, etc., is obviously going to change a fair amount. So that's the main batteries really, and like I say, if you want to see how they're physically made or put together, yeah, go and check the video out on that one. While I'm down here actually, then I'll just cover off this little battery here. So this is just a standard 12 volt, one of my case batteries I've had for many years now. I wanted to have an independent power supply to keep the Cerbo GX running, so that if I did run these batteries to exhaustion, I still had a method to control things, even though the inverter would be pretty much dead anyway if the main batteries went out. I still wanted to keep this up and running, so I'm currently running it separately, and I'm still figuring out how I'm going to run that in its own right once it's set up on the wall. But again, that's again another work in progress. One other thing I forgot to cover was the fact that when you look at the video, if you want to look at the video how these built, these do actually have mega fuses built into both of these. So there is fusing on top of all the things that come, the protection features that come with the BMS. But yeah, I just thought I'd mention that as well. So it seems right just to lead on to the Cerbo GX. So this is basically all the communications and all that. I've never used one of these before, but I've been very impressed. So you can get access to all of the online stuff. You can remote monitor. It's got so many connections. There are various other videos online if you want to figure that one out, but you can supply it with pretty much any voltage. I can't remember what the voltage range is on this. Oh, it says it there, look, it's right in front of me. I don't know if that's coming in, but yeah, it says between 8 and 70 volts DC. So you've got loads of scope to connect this to any kind of battery system you've got. As I actually even bought the cable on this one because I tried to use a standard Ethernet cable and it just wouldn't communicate via the CAN port on the batteries itself. So I actually bought the cable, which is unusual because I didn't want to mess about. I just wanted to get it done. I was running against time. That's not going to come into focus, is it? But yeah, the long and the short of it is that plugs into the CAN. These talk to each other pretty much as a setup before, and then obviously I've got the other one here which then plugs straight in. I plugged that in and it just all came into life. I made all the setting changes on this. I can monitor it. Yeah, I just put one of the screens up, you know, where I can control it from. Just to show you what it looks like on the app on my phone, but this will come into its own as well, because the other thing that I'm going to be doing, I'll cover in a minute as well, for an alternative method to charge, to actually using it like it is a proper off-grid charger. So yeah, it's only a quick tour of that, but again, many videos online from other folks covering these things. But yeah, it was probably an expensive way to communicate with it, but goodness me, it's got so many inputs and things you can do with it. It's and so easy to use. So yeah, I love this. It's been a game changer for this particular setup. Right, so this is the business end really for the EV charger, or the portable EV charger that I've got. In fact, I'm going to lay this out. Give me a minute. Okay, that's a little bit better, isn't it? So I bought this Proteus EV little metal consumer unit here. It's got a built-in surge protection device. I suppose that would be all right if I ever do use this on the grid. And it's got a bidirectional RCBO. So that covers that. And obviously the earthing arrangements on this, I like these particular inverters because they automatically switch over the earth neutral bond when they don't detect shore power or if it is connected to the grid for charging. So that really took care of the earthing on that. So that means this will work in terms of anything that's likely to trip from the RCD side of the RCBO. And again, only a temporary setup, but a bit down and dirty on that. But yeah, I've got a 32 amp commando socket, so this is obviously what I plug into plug the portable charger into, and then obviously I've got the ability to switch it on, and then once I've plugged it in, once you switched on, it's locked in place, so you can't take that out. So it's got a little safety feature on that as well. But yeah, these here are really the business ends of the AC. This is all I'm going to be using it for at the moment. So in terms of simplicity, it really is just for EV charging, but maybe when it's on the wall I might put an additional socket on there, because obviously I'm going to have a lot of extra power sitting in there. But yeah, that's really the sort of business end ready for the EV charger. So this is the 32 amp socket which plugs directly into there, which I'll just switch it on. This is the Bokman charger. So so far so good with this. It seemed to have good reviews. I'll stick a link to it down in the description, but so far so good on this. It's just worked. Plug it into the socket and it just works. So what I'll do is I'll plug this in, switch the inverter on, and just show you the screen and the selectability on it. Right, it's plugged in, ready to go now. I'll just sort of show you as well. It comes with this little case as well. You've got something if you want to mount it somewhere, which obviously I'm going to use once I get there. A little cleaning cloth there. But yeah, to switch it on this commando socket, you literally just switch it over like that, and then it wakes up. I think it's saying self-charging. Let's switch that round a bit. Can't see it very well. Okay, so yeah, this has been really easy to use. It really is just like pushing one button thing. So what I can do is I can just literally just cycle through all of the charging rates, obviously, because that means it's, you know, it depends on how long you want it to run for. I don't always really need to put it on maximum. So if I'm doing it overnight, I just leave it on 16. And I think that takes about 7 hours to empty the batteries. So yeah, it's all selectable. Been brilliant so far. I've dropped it a couple of times already, but it's fairly resilient. It's like quite a nice case on it, and I can't remember what length I got, but again I'll put that in the description of the exact version I've got. But yeah, you've got the end piece as well, which has been protected. So you've got all the usual, just pull it off and plug it in kind of thing. It's got the rubber protection on there. which is nice as well, because when you're putting it in the car it doesn't cause any marks. But yeah, it's just a standard type 2 7 kilowatt ish. I think I've seen this pull over 7 kilowatts. I think in the starting video actually it shows you how much it's pulling. But yeah, it really is just as simple as plug and play. And I think the other thing that is interesting is the fact that if you ever weren't worried about having a smart charger, you could actually just get a commando socket with one of these if you weren't that bothered. But again, I think the smart tariffs is what makes it really good. But for me, I've had a different version of that, because I wanted to use these because of the tariffs that I've got at the moment. And I'm going to have to probably consider what I do in winter. But anyway, that's the Bokman charger there. So far so good with that, and like I say, it comes with all the kit you need, and the link will be below if you want to take a look at that. The other thing I just forgot to mention is the fact that when it does detect shore power, it uses the earth from the shore power. So when this is plugged in charging or whatever, it will use the earth from there. When it is in off-grid mode, it will just do the earth neutral bond automatically, which is great with this particular unit. So there you have it. That's the that's the other system just kicked in. So that's really the EV charger bit sorted. So the final thing I just wanted to cover with this for the off-grid ability as such, I know there's no such word, but is how I'm actually going to use it with solar. So I've actually got one of the smart solar charge controllers from Victron as well. So that's something else that I've got the cable to plug in here as part of the improvements to this setup. And once I get it over there on the wall, that's the one that I'm going to use. As you can see, I'm just putting it on the screen at the moment. So that's what I'm going to be using, which is currently just charging one of my 24 volt systems, my little shopping cart battery at the moment. And obviously I'm going to be using that with the 4 solar panels I've had for many years now in the garden, running my off-grid systems. So yeah, that's going to they're going to cover charging this in general terms. Got to admit, that smart solar controller has already been showing over, in a couple of occasions, showing over 1500 watts. Bearing in mind at standard, the standard output for those panels is 1360 watts. All right, the panels were cold, and having that cold wind has really helped, but in general I've been seeing sort of late 1400s. So that really shows that it's a really quite a good MPP setup there. So once I get that on the wall and bolted into this system, I'll get a bus bar system set up anyway with this, because that'll be part of the future plans and improvements. Once just getting it on the wall, being able to charge it at a quicker rate directly from the consumer unit with the electrician installed feed. And that's really it for that. So this gives me that flexibility that I need. And I'll cover off the tariff situation on another video, but I don't really want to lose the way that it's earning revenue at the moment for me. And I will put another video up about the current tariff setup, because I'm currently on Octopus Flux, both for import and export. And obviously while the sun's good, I don't really want to be changing that. So, you know, I can effectively charge my daughter's car when she's here. Not all the time, not back to back, unless I've got back to back sunny days, but I can do a pretty good job of getting her a commute miles for completely free. So that's it really. I hope you found the video useful. As ever, if you've got any sort of comments or questions, just pop them in the chat below. I'll do my best to answer them as quickly as possible, but thanks for watching, and see you soon.